Well, hello, folks. Uh, Almost the end of January. In Portugal, we're having Primavera Januero. It's like springtime in January. So recently, for several weeks, it's been between maybe 14 degrees and 22. So the next few days it'll be 20 to 22, 23. It's quite warm. It's really pleasant. I love the weather. Uh, I'm elated about it. Makes me feel so good. But it does seem a little bit unusual. I've noticed farmers in my area are busy planting, real crops. They prepared the ground very early. So I think they're thinking they're going to get some crops in before the summer, before it gets hot and water becomes more scarce, which is good for them. And the microclimate here is just always nice, but it seems to be definitely warmer than it used to be. And I'm enjoying it. What can I say? So I've been posting stuff on Globe Hackers Facebook for a long time. It became a habit for me. I was drawing from some RSS feeds and some other news aggregators and platforms. Basically an experiment to see if, you could just look at a whole bunch of stuff and fill out your worldview a little bit more and maybe understand things better. But, everybody does it. And most of it's spin. And in lieu of any kind of political philosophy or ideological commitment to something, and willingness to act, to do something about something, to sacrifice a minute of time and maybe a penny or two to fight for change that is utterly necessary in today's world, but perhaps most people don't think so. So, basically everything's just apologetics for business as usual. And we're supposed to be feeling really good about the data and the experts in various domains, and everything's going to be okay, and the end of history narrative and so on, and the hegemon, it's interesting. I was reading the Tricontinental they did a couple reports about the global North versus the global South, which is basically the Anglosphere, neo-colonial Anglosphere, that's run and operated by the United States with its military power and 970 military bases around the world, and combined like almost $2 trillion of military spending and whatnot. Nobody's going to be able to go against that, and the global South is just trying to divorce itself, and that includes Russia and China and places like that, from that system, so that they can try to do something different. So they're concerned with sovereignty, with culture, with being able to develop in ways that they want to develop. And of course, over the last 100 years or so, that's been anathema to the US empire. Anyway, these two studies are incredibly well done. Very in-depth, lots of really good references, so I'm going to post that. And also I listened to the first episode of Citations Needed. It's a podcast that looks at media and power and how that works in our world. And it's really good. I've listened to it for quite a while, and that's a really good, 2024 first episode. The purpose of a politician these days is just to stay in politics and make money off of it. There's really nothing else going on. And so just the idea that people in the United States really think it's a big deal to vote for Trump or Biden, I mean, what's the difference, really? Yeah, sure, there are differences, but this is not leadership. This is not well informed. This is more of the same. by privileged people who really don't care about the world or people in general or life on Earth. The game just continues, and it will continue, and the whole raison d'etre for these people is just to maintain the game and be a player in it, whether they're a tiny little player, a clerk, or whether they're a bigger player, you know, a banker or a hedge fund manager, CEO, involved in the so-called intelligentsia, think tank, revolving door politics thing, or, you know, higher education, whatever it might be. So the struggle will continue more or less kind of chaotically, but, you know, the whole idea is that you iterate change over time, like they said in the podcast, like a new iPhone. You know, it just gets a little bit better every time, so you have nothing to worry about. Meanwhile, the polycrisis is a real thing, and we're heading towards collapse on many, many levels. If you're interested in learning about how things work, and again, you can read a book a week. I've got some recommendations on my website, or you don't have to. Just get on with it and come what may. Yeah, so that's about it. I'd really recommend listening to Citations Needed. It's a good podcast. And look into that tricontinental stuff, even if you think that socialism is a satanic or a bugaboo bad word, or, you know, you think that the kind of capitalism that's existed for 100 years is the best of all possible worlds, and represents reality and science and all the greatest aspects of human intelligence and whatnot. And the best thing we can do is just let it continue as it is, and everything will be sorted out for us. That's fine if you have that faith. If you're a believer in that, what can I do? Nothing. So anyway, have a good day, a good weekend, and I'll talk to you again soon. Take good care. Bully MT out.